Damn. Y'all feel that?
Yeah, yeah, uh, yeah. A message to all you pseudo spitters. The sound is cool, but the trend I see is the truth is missing. I feel the flow is stupid. You claim that the music's different. I guess it's all opinion, depending on who was listening.
What's the word, y'all? It's KTR podcast, hashtag KTR. We are KTR back in the building for episode 77, live and direct on them hoes with No Rose Podcast. Yes, hashtag KTR. KTR, we are back in the building. But before we dive into this episode real quick, I have to check in with my brothers, and that is Big Harv and J-Bo himself. And my brothers, how are y'all feeling today?
I'm blessed. Can't stress. How about you, Big Harv?
I'm doing all right. It's Friday. Have a good Friday.
Just got paid. It's Friday night. Party hunting. Feel all right. Hey, booty shaking. Hey, round and round. Let's get this show off the ground. Okay, thank y'all, my brothers. Appreciate that for checking in and telling me how y'all doing today. But before we dive into this episode real quick, y'all gotta do us a simple favor for us, and that is to follow us on all social media platforms, KTR_podcast, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, No Rose Podcast, Facebook, YouTube. Know the Rose Podcast on all podcast platforms. Got Google Podcasts, got Spotify, we got Anchor, got Apple Podcasts, got Podbean on everything. And don't forget to get that merch at ProWrestlingTees.com/KTR podcast. Let's get in, let's go, and let's get into the show. Yes. Even though it's Friday, beautiful day, right before the holiday weekend, but when y'all tap into this episode, it's gonna be after that. But real quick, we have to send our condolences and warmest respect and prayers out to the families of the passing of Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt. They recently just passed away not too long ago. And it's really hard, it's really hurtful, especially with Bray Wyatt, because he was within our era of wrestling and connected so well with him. But with that, don't really have a topic around it too and anything about it, but no, this is just paying our respects to the two sports entertainers within the WWE. So, my brothers, y'all can take it away and give y'all respects to Bray Wyatt and Terry Funk.
Well, we'll say Big Harv for last, since we know how much Bray Wyatt meant to him personally. Cinko, I do want to actually thank you for making sure you highlighted Terry Funk as well, mainly because with Bray Wyatt being a more modern day name, so the fans of today knows Bray Wyatt. Unless you was watching wrestling for a long time, or even if you paid attention to the legends of wrestling, you wouldn't understand, Terry Funk, his impact not only on wrestling, but extreme wrestling as well, hardcore match wrestling. Like, he is truly a pioneer of making a lot of differences in wrestling, a different outlook, a different view, other than just the basic in-ring, collar to elbow type wrestling, So to acknowledge him is also very, very important. And, our condolences go out to the family. Terry Funk, he is definitely a legend. We all know he's a legend. I think anybody who has at least an inclination of wrestling knowledge knows that Terry Funk deserves to be considered a legend. Now to Bray Wyatt, I'll save a lot of the condolences for Big Harv. It's just that it's tough. We literally saw Bray Wyatt from the beginning of his career up until his untimely passing. We saw the evolution of Bray Wyatt from when he went from the tank with the Ferrari engine to when he had the Wyatt family to when he was the Fiend to what he was creating and developing now. He is such an interesting character. I was actually talking to another homeboy of mine, and Bray Wyatt, what made him so interesting is that he was not going out there to try to be the best wrestler. He wasn't going out there to try to be the best entertainer. He wasn't even going out there to try to be like the most scariest character out there. And you can tell with Bray Wyatt, his goal was connecting with the fans in a way that nobody else could do. and keep that connection on the level where you can't forget. You see him is unique, and it's going to be something that's going to last. It's going to be very difficult to find somebody else that has such a creative and a unique mind as Wyndham Bray Wyatt. So rest in peace to his family, his children, his loved ones, the entire family of his. So, yeah, we lost a great one with that. There you go, Big Harv.
That's a hard one, man. This is really tough. Still, about a week later, still hard to really grasp. I took it harder than I thought I was gonna take it because I really don't really think about celebrities and stuff like that. But yeah, he definitely connected with me, and I felt a lot more than I thought I was gonna feel upon the time of his passing. We talk about Terry Funk first. I don't know if y'all remember a few episodes a while back. Actually, one of our first episodes, we did like a top 5, and I had Mick Foley in my top 5, and a big part of that was Terry Funk. What really put me on Mick Foley, Cactus Jack's radar was the feud that him and Terry Funk had with the New Age Outlaws. And that also brought me into tag team wrestling more, made me pay more attention to what that's about and how that, the different art form that you have to do a tandem type of match like that.
Yeah.
So, of course, RIP to him. Pioneer in so many different ways. You mentioned the hardcore, just unorthodox styles, and of course tag team wrestling. When it comes to Bray Wyatt, man, that's just crazy. This is really dark. It's crazy. It is. I don't know. I'm still trying to make it make sense in my head. It's crazy. He would. I haven't had a favorite wrestler like that in a long time. You know what I mean? Like somebody that the connection, like you kept talking about. He made sure he was out there to connect with people. Whether they tried to make him play heel, face, whatever, he did pretty much him. He did him, and you felt how you felt about it. It's sad that he also went out, pretty much left a bad taste, bad little exclamation point on his career. He didn't really complete what he wanted to complete with his comeback. He didn't really complete his comeback at all, and that hurts too. So it's tough, man. It really is. R.I.P. I won't spend too much time on it, but yeah, it's really that's a rough one. It is.
Yeah,
it's been rough week.
Yeah, with that, like it caught the whole world off guard because when I was just chilling and just scrolling and on Twitter, and I seen like Bray Wyatt passed away. I was like confused and lost. I was like, how? Like it was just out the blue, like random, like. I knew he was just working through his injury and mental health stuff like that, but then hearing about his death just caught off guard. Because the thing with Bray Wyatt, with me personally, even and we had shows back then, and I had my 2 cents about him here and there, just being me, just being silly, But if we're just being all honest, with that Bray Wyatt was a real polarizing figure within the business, and he really had that potential to be not only just the first him of his character and everything, but I saw that potential of long lasting longevity, long legacy, and just having that character appeal like somebody of the Undertaker pretty much. And you could just see that in just the beginning stages, how he just morphed into different characters from just Husky Harris to Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, and it was all great, and it was all put over for him. And so he really developed that on his own. It's with that kind of character, you can't script out anything. You can't, no writers can plan the things that will cultivate from his mouth on the microphone. You can't plan that out. That just happens. That's him in just everything that he put into it. And also, it's not even with that, with just his ability just to connect with the crowd. And my skills looks as a wrestler too, because the thing about it, usually when you see people who they push as just being a face of the wrestling industry of a character, they gotta be 6'6" plus tall. They gotta have cocky muscles here and there and this and that. Bray Wyatt was just shaped as the regular average size man, pretty much. I miss my dad, I taught my dad you shaped just like him, or like Kevin Owens, like that, and they could move and stuff like that. And it was just different because you don't see a person of that stature, doing, flexible aerobic moves of that. Like he was just that versatile in many ways in just everything he does. So like with him, like is really sad. It was like really gonna miss him as a person, as a wrestler within this business, the industry. Is really sad. And also with Terry Funk too, like I said, one of the pioneers of the hardcore wrestling industry too, and just being one of the first to put his foot forth in that business and doing everything that he's done. And like I said, we ain't seen in much in recent years, but like I said, he will be missed as well. So like condolences to the both of them. Prayers for their family, their friends, the loved ones, and the fans that missed and loved everything that they have done in and for the business of wrestling, not just WWE, but wrestling as a whole. And with that, we'll move on to the next topic at hand. Since we're talking about polarizing figures, and this might leave a bad taste in Big Harv mouth because this transition, but I'm sorry, but it's the closest thing I had. We're gonna talk about John Cena real quick.
John Cena sucks. John Cena sucks. John Cena sucks. I'm with you. All right, we can do that.
The return of the greatest of all time, my GOAT, the WWE's GOAT overall. John Cena is returning to SmackDown for a few set days, not just one, not just two, but several. I don't know how many off the top of my head by hand, but I'm pretty sure it's like around 7 to 11, something like that. But yeah, John Cena is coming back to do some work, put on a face for his show. And that's why we got to get this episode set before it hits 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock my time, because I got to see John Cena on screen real quick. And also, I will be back home for St. Louis. I can see him in person. I got myself front row tickets. I gotta see it. I gotta see it. That's my guy, right behind Randy Orton. But Johnson, it looked like he got some open time in his schedule. He's coming back to wrestling. And so, my brothers, what do y'all think John Cena has in store for the World Wrestling Entertainment Universe?
He ain't got
We're gonna start off with you since you love him so much.
He ain't making no acting money. That's all. Right or strike. He can't do nothing else.
Hey, you know what? I ain't think about that.
All right, there it is. Yep, he's looking at his muscle car collection. He was like, damn. Got bills to pay. Let me hit up Vinny Mac. See you got a spot for. I know he got a spot for your boy. And there you go. Couple dates. Oh, there you go.
You say he ain't doing it for the fans. He's doing it for his wallet.
Worry about them fans. Hey, right or straight. He ain't getting no work. When Peacemaker season 2 coming out? We don't know. Nobody knows.
Oh my God. I did not think about that till he said that.
Cena stuff. It's all good. You know what it is.
Yeah.
J-Bo, did you have anything to say, Big Harv?
He gonna do him. I do enjoy that he's putting people over. If he's gonna actually do more, he needs to work harder. That match with Austin Theory was his last match, and it was very light. Of course, because he's an actor now, he don't want to injure himself and then risk all those big paychecks. But if you're going to be coming back and putting people over, it's got to be believable. And if we're looking at Austin Theory now versus where he was WrestleMania, he hasn't really gained anything from that run. So whatever he does, I just feel like he needs to put everything into it.
So, I mean, since John Cena's coming back, I mean, he's part-time, or as Harv mentioned, if it's in way of the writer's strike, whatever have you. The only thing I could see him doing is coming back and working with someone like Grayson Waller, because I know that he had some in-ring mic time with him a couple months ago at the, what was it? It was the New England show? The New
Something
England?
like that.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly.
It was at the PLE.
Yeah, it was at the Premium Live event, right. Yeah. They were talking about bringing WrestleMania there. Like, that was the last time he was there on screen. I think, me personally, my only thing with John Cena coming back, if he's going to come and, try to help out the younger wrestlers, again, like Grayson Waller, whoever else, great, that's fine. But I hate to say this, but he has to be careful. he has to be careful. Harv already mentioned that, Austin Theory's match with John Cena led Austin Theory nowhere. I think it didn't even start with the match he had at WrestleMania. It started with the in-ring promo that they had with each other, where John Cena damn near annihilated.
Decimated that man. Oh, I forgot.
And from that point, Austin Theory has been stagnant, if not plummeting. And so if John Cena goes in there and does what John Cena does, let's say he goes in there with Grayson Waller. Grayson Waller is cool, but we've seen John Cena's track record. Go in there, he can do the same thing with Grayson Waller, and he does the exact opposite of what he should be doing of coming back, which is actually helping him go forward. So that's what I mean. I hate to say it because John Cena's good on the mic and what he does, but he has to be careful if we really want to see, the next star go up. He can't just completely dog him like he did Austin Theory.
And then lose a haphazard ass match. Yeah, that ain't gonna do it.
Dude, no. You can go in there and just get destroyed in the ring. It doesn't mean anything because everyone already has a mental understanding that at the end of the day, John Cena is much greater than you. And if you win, oh well. You're going to be an afterthought in a few months.
Yep. Crazy.
With that, I honestly do not know what John Cena's planning to do or going into this. Because the thing about it with that is I'm not sure. Well, he might not do anything with Grayson Waller immediately because it looks like Grayson Waller's doing something with Cody Rhodes right now because he's going to be on the Grayson Waller effect come Payback. So we'll see what happens after Payback, if anything happens or what happens tonight. But because I'm really not sure what is in store for John Cena. I'm trying to think of potential opponents on that SmackDown roster who might just come up and just bad talk him or this and that. He haven't done with Theory because Theory got this United States title rematch again. So I'm at a loss right now. I'm not sure. I have no idea. Maybe someone of Karrion Kross, they might try to bring this up because his thing is slowly falling and fading away with ever feud he tried to have with AJ Styles.
And it doesn't even have to just be SmackDown. It could be somebody from Raw or NXT. The draft is already thrown left ways out the window. So
Harv said.
And just start something with.
Yeah, so the draft really don't matter because anything's possible at this point. But I'm just trying to figure out what would John Cena do. You can't put him in the undisputed Universal Championship picture thing because we already did that. I had my fandom 2 cents for that, so that's out the way. I don't need to see that match. But like I said, I don't know what they could do for him, what they're gonna do with him. I don't know. He's gonna pop in and just do promos here and there. May get a spot match because somebody may call him out, and I don't know. I'm really lost. I was trying to feed off of y'all what y'all might say, and I'm still at a loss for words. I don't know what he's gonna do. But I'm glad he's back. I'm not gonna lie about that. I just can't wait to see him. I'm gonna be like, touch my hand. Wait, he come down the
Fandom fan. Okay.
All right. Hey, when he run throw his towel in the crowd, hey, watch me do
No, you in the front row. You ain't catching that unless.
No, I'm on the aisle, the front row, the aisle thing.
Oh, okay. You planned it.
He said he gonna hit them
I did plan it because when he announced, I'm like, yep, I saw a ticket right next to the aisle. I'm like, so yeah, look out for me for that one.
What you gonna do if you catch the towel? You gonna sniff it?
Yes. I might cry. I'm gonna take a selfie with it. Yeah, I'm gonna hang it in my man cave, call it a day. So yeah, can't wait. So if there's any little kids around me, they getting stiff armed like the Heisman. I don't care. Somebody. Yeah, in the words of Michael Jordan, F them kids. I don't care. This is me, right? I'm getting that towel. Damn it.
Everybody can't win, but Johnny. Everybody can't win.
Ryan found him out. Said, just don't give up. That's what he said. Don't care. I'm getting that towel one way or another.
I will be interested in the next episode with you having that towel draped somewhere.
Boy, that towel's gonna be on every episode moving forward. Every episode moving forward.
Okay, all for Juan Cena.
Uh-huh. Cool. Another topic we got on the set is one of my personal favorites. Honestly, I've been talking about this man in the chat for weeks on in, weeks on out. Y'all probably get irritated about it, but I don't care because y'all gonna hear about it. And that is my guy, Trick MF and Williams. Yes, Trick Williams. He is a star in the making. And we did talk about this in the chat recently about the splitting of him and Carmelo, and then we did talk about it on the show too as well. But he finally had his singles match with the Dragon. Went well.
Yeah.
He got some new entrance music.
Goes
hard. And now it looks like there might be a little bit of animosity between him and his best friend Carmelo.
Yeah.
So we might see some heel action from him because it makes sense. If he's a heel instead of Carmelo. So yeah. If it's Bill, no, we're just going off that. But with that, what do you think about this new stardom with Trick Williams and everything in his career in NXT so far, and where it's going about now?
I do think they should keep baiting it. Go ahead, J-Bo. My bad.
No, you good. No, I'm interested in you, Harv. Go ahead.
Oh no, I like the baiting. I like when they bait it and make you think about the dissension instead of just shoving it in your face. You know what I'm saying? There definitely has to be animosity, and there has to come a point where they go at each other or have a more maybe not violent, but a more heated split away from each other. I feel like dropping little tidbits here and there to get to that point is better than them just go outright having him attack them or outright being jealous and doing some stupid stuff that they've done in the past. So I like what's going on. I don't necessarily, and the reason I like that too, I guess I can just add on that, is that I don't necessarily think that he needs to go heel. Like Cinko, you talked about so many times, he has a diehard fan base, and it's really, in my opinion, it's growing. Trick Williams' fan base is growing. He's not going backwards. He's improving, and people are seeing that he's improving. So I don't think that necessarily they both have to be heel. It can almost be like one of the few instances where they have two faces that are like battling to see who's the most popular or who's the most over, and then you just got the crowd going back and forth. Sometimes that's just good for it. So I'm interested to see how it goes.
First off, we mentioned honestly Trick Williams' best matchup to date with Ilya Dragunov. Shout out to Ilya Dragunov, because anybody who steps into the ring with him, you're going to look good, especially if you have some decent ring. So shout out to him for that. But with Trick Williams, honestly, I love what they're doing with him. I love how when he debuted, he was seen as sort of like, the friend, the hype man, the not really sidekick, but the homie to Carmelo Hayes. And he kind of just slowly but surely branched off into his own way when he was on Main Event, on Superstars, some matches on NXT by himself. Like, he's actually been slowly, quietly, but now more obviously growing as a singles competitor, which is terrific. With the potential dissension between him and Carmelo Hayes, I think it's honestly good for both of them to eventually go against each other, especially since one of them is the NXT champion. However, I don't want it to get to the point where, like, they're just so heated at each other that they can't, be partners again in the future. We've seen it all the time. You see wrestlers like, I don't know, Shawn Michaels and Triple H. You remember when they feuded, they busted each other's heads open, but then years later they came out as DX with each other. So, I mean, it's not a lost cause, but I think they still work better together in the long run. I think still good for Trick on NXT. As Cinko mentioned, with his fan base, he got a great fan base and it's going to work in his favor. I'm honestly still concerned about how he will be on the main roster. Heck, my concerns are still the same with Carmelo Hayes on the main roster. I don't think they'll take either one of them truly seriously in the long run, but I think with them together, even in NXT, in the future roster, I think that's where they're going to benefit the most. But they both need this singles competitor time, if it's against each other or with their own opponents. I think this is really good for them right now. So again, yeah, I'm interested to keep seeing how this goes.
This is to piggyback off what both of y'all said too, and just merging into one thing. I think that match between Melo and Trick does have to happen. It makes, and it probably will be for that NXT title.
Yeah.
And I could see Trick Williams winning that title because it could be like the passing of the torch. And like at the end, they shake hands, all that, show love to each other because there's no hate. Now I think it can't. There, yeah, like you said, there's no reason why they should be have like a heated moment where they actually hate each other in the thing. Because like I said, it started off as like friends, homies, best friends, things like that, and just start to grow into their own person. And so I think that would be helpful for Trick as like his last step of stepping out of the shadow of Mello and not looking like his sidekick. Yeah, so like with that match probably has to happen. But with that, they probably will get split for a while, more like for a year, because I feel like once that happens, Mello is gonna get brought up to the main roster, but Trick's gonna stay on NXT for a minute. And I think that's good for Trick because it gives him time to find himself more and start excelling as a singles wrestler and like doing things on like probably more serious storylines, holding promos for himself as just being the main attraction for once, this and that. Because like I said, Melo's already done that. Like I said, and I feel like he's more well established at this point so far. So they're probably just gonna see how he fares by himself as a singles competitor and on the main roster moving forward. Then probably like a year later, they'll probably bring Trick in. Not sure if they're gonna put them together or not, but that's just my theory.
But I'll even piggyback off of you. Yeah, like you mentioned, have Carmelo go up to the main roster, keep Trick on NXT, build himself as a singles competitor, and you can even put Carmelo Hayes in a situation where, I don't know, a year or so down the line, he needs help, he needs assistance. Then you can bring a hot Trick Williams up on the main roster. Then they could work together, even if it's for a short time, and then they keep going their separate ways. That's fine. Now you reintroduce Trick Williams to the main roster and kept Carmelo Hayes established on the main roster. You could really work, multiple ways with that without having them just, at each other's neck at the end of the day. Like, you don't have to do that.
Right. Think Big Harv.
I agree. I mean, that's what I said at the beginning. I like that they just dropped the little hints and make you think that maybe there's dissension, but I don't think that there necessarily needs to be that type of split.
Yeah.
I feel that. That makes sense. That makes sense. So with that, transitioning over to our last and final topic of the evening, I'm switching it up because I did ask y'all something earlier this week what we're going to do, but we're going to save it for our next show because we ain't got much time left for this show because SmackDown come on soon and I got to see John Cena. So with that, since we were talking about NXT real quick, I had this question in the chamber like 2 episodes ago, so this is perfect. So since we're talking about NXT and everything and all the stuff that's been going on over there, they've been bringing stars who are free agents, but that were on the main roster down to NXT for the work here and there. Like, got Baron Corbin, Mustafa Ali, Dana Brooke. We saw a glimpse of the Street Profits, but I'm pretty sure that was just for the show. I don't think they're doing anything on this show, but still, they've been bringing main roster superstars to NXT. So at this point, he obviously they're just kind of having a hard time trying to figure out storylines, trying to fit everybody on the show all at once. Do you think that it is possible? Because it was a thing back then before, but it's not now. Do you think it's possible for NXT to be a third brand show alongside with Raw and SmackDown, outside of being a developmental show? Now, see you shaking your head.
Like it was before Vince took it over? Absolutely not. Not before. I don't think it'll ever get back to where it was before they rebranded. In my opinion, the focus isn't the same. They don't focus on the same things that they focused on when it was booming as basically a third brand. It's just not the same, and we haven't seen any of those changes like we thought we might see when Triple H got that spot back and put Shawn Michaels over. We thought, okay, we might get a little bit moving back to those glory days, I guess you'd call it. But I think that's done in NXT. I don't think they're really looking to make it a third, and I don't think that they have the people down there to make it a third at this point.
And to piggyback off Harv, another challenge that they have I had to mention this, AEW. If you think of the golden days of NXT, back when Triple H was over at the Black and Gold brand, you had wrestlers who were established in other independent organizations come over to WWE NXT and pretty much make it their house. That honestly gave WWE, their wrestling, NXT the fire that they need to stand out. But now you have the current NXT where, let's be honest, their main goal is just to find somebody young who probably was a college star at some point and try to build them up rather than taking a wrestler who already knows what they're doing, just convert them to the more WWE style. So not only is that not their focus, but all the independent wrestlers are still out there. They don't care because they got AEW they can go over to and still be themselves. So NXT, as Harv says, they're not their focus. And even if there was their focus, there's so many avenues that other great independent wrestlers have nowadays that it's just like, if WWE doesn't work out for them, they can still make good money. They can still go to other wrestling organizations. They really don't have to focus on that. So unfortunately, current day NXT, no. But if it was the Black and Gold days, absolutely.
Definitely agree with that. If it was the Black and Gold day, yes, but not NXT 2.0. I don't think it's not it for them, unfortunately. Because like I said, they changed the whole dynamic. Like really, the NXT back in the day was the indie show on steroids, like which was a great thing. Like
WWE budget,
people did not want to leave NXT at all, and they didn't care because obviously the people in NXT were getting paid less, but they wanted to stay on that show because that was their home for them. And also, think about that shoot, they were wrestling at the same venue. They had to travel for real, so like that made you could stay in one state, put on this show with other great athletes as well and still get televised?
Yeah. Mind you, NXT takeover shows were normally way better than any other event WWE was doing.
Because they had the takeover show before the actual pay-per-view the day before, and like that rocked the house that Saturday night before they did the thing that Sunday night for the PLE. Like, yeah, they're like, okay, we can't do this anymore. It's crazy. Like NXT was really that show back in the day.
It was a whole era. It truly was.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's the end of an era, like it is with this episode. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for subscribing. Thank y'all for supporting. Because, like I always say before, there would not be another Roast podcast without y'all, the wrestling community. So I thank y'all. But before we sign out, y'all gotta do this one simple favor for us, and that is to follow us on all social media platforms: KTR_podcast, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Know the Roast Podcast, Facebook, YouTube. Know the Roast Podcast on all podcast platforms. We got Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, on everything. And don't forget to get that merch at ProWrestlingTees.com/KTR Podcast. Let's get in. Let's go to the end of the show. This is episode 77. Know the Roast Podcast. #KTR, and we are out.
Before Cinko gotta go and see his boo John Cena, tell him, Big Harv, what should they do?
That was hilarious. Also hilarious that Cinko sat here looking like Lil Boosie the entire episode with the fade and the shades. But now that we got that out the way,
shout out to my barber.
Crispy, fuck them numbers.
That don't compute in my mind, I must be out of mind. Black fist high, rally up before we out of time.